Hello there and a warm welcome to SuperScreen News at 6, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. The Senate has directed two of its committees to wade into the allegations of police harassment on Senator Dino Melaye in Kogi State. The Senate confirmed this development during Wednesday's plenary session. Details in this report.
The Senate has directed two of its standing committees on judiciary, human rights, and police to investigate the alleged continued harassment of Senator Dino Melaye by Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. This directive was given on the point of order moved by Senator Issa Misau over plans by the police to arraign Senator Dino Melaye before a court in Lokoja.
Let this issue be treated in Abuja, whereby Senator Dino Melaye will report himself in Abuja, where everybody will see what is happening, so that even the international community, they are so much concerned now, they can see what is happening. Because if we decide to be taking this thing, so that, because tomorrow we don't know the next person. Today the police will just take a charge to court. I've never seen where a police will take somebody to court in the criminal matter without taking his statement.
On his part, Senator Dino Melaye told the Senate that he has not received any court summon for his arraignment. Some senators said urgent measures should be taken to protect him.
One of those declared wanted by the police in my assassination attempt is the one saying that on Airport Road in December, I gave him AK-47, 3 AK-47 and 430,000 inside my car on Airport Road. But, Mr. President, as I speak to you, they fail in their myopic ignorance to state a date and time. I cannot understand how an arraignment can be done. A criminal confession, no date, no time.
We are made to understand that there is an impending arraignment of Senator Dino if he refuses to appear. And I believe the resolution of the prayer of the Senate should, some specifications should be there, that the arraignment should be stopped forthwith pending the conclusion of the investigation by the Senate.
The only reason why we are stepping into it is the fact that the truth has already been established, that yes, indeed, there was an attempted assassination, yes, the people were arrested, yes, the people were charged to court. Where then are we seeing this? Because we must describe it as a phantom arrangement to put away a senator in order to stop him from speaking.
What we see is a deviation from the proper process of accusation and arraignment. And I think it is time for us to tell the police that the time is right for them to now look at the processes and do the needful.
What affects anyone, any senator here, affects all and impinges on the institution generally. There is no doubt, listening to Senator Dino Melaye and following these matters, that these issues have not followed due processes. And there are many cases like this. And I think it is not something that we should take lightly at all. Today it could be Senator Dino Melaye, tomorrow it could be somebody else. In the process or speaking whatever you believe in, whether rightly or wrongly, we must have that tolerance to allow divergence of views. So this committee should look into this thing seriously and report back. And I'm sure that the entire Senate will see the cooperation to stand for what is right.
You will recall that the police spokesman, Jimo Moshood, had said Senator Dino Melaye will be declared wanted if he fails to appear before the courts in Lokoja. The committees are expected to report back to the Senate in 48 hours.
In a related development, the Senate has given the Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Idris, 48 hours ultimatum to produce the two suspects earlier paraded for illegal possession of firearms allegedly supplied by Senator Dino Melaye. This follows a point of order moved by Senator Dino Melaye, who cited Order 43 drawing the attention of the Senate to news regarding a jailbreak where the two suspects he was accused of army escaped. Malaye alleged that the accused persons must have been released or killed. He, however, vowed to sue the Inspector General of Police for intimidation, abuse of power, and mental assault if these suspects are not produced dead or alive.
This morning, Mr. President, there is a reported case in Lokoja that there was jailbreak at 5 a.m. this morning and the two suspects have escaped. Mr. President, we were all supposed to appear before the Lokoja High Court this morning. Lo and behold, my lawyers were in court at 9 a.m. and the case was called up, and the prosecutor, the Nigerian police, could not produce the two accused persons. Instead of producing the two accused persons, they asked the judge to issue a bench warrant for my arrest. But the judge refused to grant their prayers. And the judge said, despite the fact that I have not been served, I sent representation to the court. And the main principal accused persons are absent in court. So she cannot grant them bench warrant for my arrest. To cut a long story short, the matter has been adjourned to May the 10th. Mr. The opportunity and in the principle of justice to call on the Inspector General of Police that within 48 hours he must produce these two accused persons. Because despite the fact that they are accused, they are presumed innocent until proven guilty. They also have right to life. So the police must, as a matter of urgency, produce these two accused persons. Failure to do so, I am going to sue the IG for intimidation, for harassment, for blackmail, for mental assault.
Well, Senator Dino Malaye reacting there. Moving on, meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has ordered the immediate removal of the Kogi State Commissioner of Police, Ali Janga. The IG also redeployed the Commander, Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad in the state. The Divisional Police Officer, A Division, Lokoja, and other police officers implicated in the escape for negligence, dereliction of duty, and gross misconduct. The IG, in a statement by the police spokesman, Jimo Mashood, explained that the policemen are all facing serious disciplinary action in view of the 6 suspects that escaped from Kogi State Police custody early this morning. And moving away from that, the founder of the Odua People's Congress, Frederick Fassion, has condemned the federal government over amnesty offered to Boko Haram terrorists. Fassion, who disclosed this in a statement, said the amnesty offer is an evidence that the federal government's claim that Boko Haram has been defeated was a mere propaganda. He said offering amnesty to a world-acclaimed terrorist organization is the most unequivocal testimonial that government has been deceiving Nigerians. According to Fassion, President Muhammadu Buhari's recent offer of amnesty to Boko Haram is an insult to the dead, maimed, and internally displaced victims of the anti-Western education terrorists, as well as soldiers who lost their lives in the fight against terrorism. And in an effort to ensure peace between farmers and herdsmen and all the members of Kwara State, the government has banned night cattle grazing in the state. Now, this was part of the resolutions adopted at the expanded State Security Committee meeting held on Tuesday in Ilorin. The state governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, who disclosed this, said the move will help minimize conflicts between farmers and herdsmen. The governor said the decision is also targeted at improving efforts to identify, apprehend, and prosecute those suspected of destroying herders' cattle or farmlands and crops in view of impending farming season. Still staying with security matters, the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Political Organization, Afenifere, and the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, have called on the federal government to act fast in securing the release of the last Dapchi girl, Aliyah Sharibu, still held captive by Boko Haram terrorists. Afenifere also called on the United Nations to investigate incessant killings by Fulani herdsmen across the country. Afenifere's position was contained in a communique issued at the end of its monthly meeting held at the residence of its leader, Reuben Fasoroti, in Akure, the Ondo state capital, while the PFN's statement was contained in a statement signed by its national president, Reverend Felix Omobode, on Tuesday. The Pan-Yoruba Group's communique was read to journalists by its publicity secretary, Yinka Odumaki. Away from this, the Federal High Court in Kaduna State has struck out a suit filed by the former chairman of Pension Reform Task Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Maina had on November 14, 2017, sued the anti-graft agency for what he described as an ineligibility of the commission to carry out its functions on the grounds that the 2004 Act is an illegality. In the petition filed through his lawyer, Muhammad Katu, Maina urged the court to declare as null and void the EFCC Act of 2004 on the premise that the Act was modified by the former President Olusegun Obasanjo without passing the normal legislative processes as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended. May now also ask the court to restrain EFCC or any other security agency from arresting him over allegations of corruption. The federal government has asked the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to go the whole hog with its apology to Nigerians by returning all the alleged funds looted from the public treasury under its watch during its 16 years of rule. In a statement issued in Abuja on Tuesday, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, also challenged the party to show the genuineness of its apology through a discernible change of attitude. Reacting, the PDP said it did not loot any public fund, accusing the APC of looting funds from some states to sponsor the presidential election in 2015. Mohammed's reaction followed the apology made by the national chairman of the PDP, Uche Secondas, at the party's sanction in Abuja on Monday, where he asked Nigerians to forgive the party. The federal government will on Thursday unveil transaction advisors who were recently appointed for the establishment of a national career and the concession of the country's fourth major international airport. Reports say the transaction advisors handling some other key projects would also be unveiled by the government. They include advisors on the establishments of maintenance, repair and overhaul centers, development of cargo and agro-allied terminals, establishment of an aviation leasing company, and development of aerotropolis or airport setters. In also an interesting news, the federal government has declared Friday, March 30th and April 2nd, 2018 as public holiday to mark the Easter celebrations. The Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazar, retired, made the declaration on behalf of the federal government in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja by the director overseeing the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Julie Ejiofor. The minister admonished Christian faithful and Nigerians in general to employ the spiritual ethos of Easter, which include love, peace, and sacrifice in contributing to the unity and peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. He also urged Nigerians to remain supportive of the government of President Muhammadu Buhari in its efforts towards building a peaceful, united, and prosperous nation. In a related development, the Lagos State government has also declared Thursday, March 29 as a public holiday in the state. According to the state government, this is to enable Lagos residents come out and welcome President Muhammadu Buhari, who is set to visit the state. In a statement issued on Tuesday by the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Kehinde Bamigbeton, the government also announced traffic diversions in alternative routes ahead of the presidential visit tomorrow, which will take place between March 29 and 30. During the visit, President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to commission the new Ikeja bus terminal, attend a colloquium in honor of the national leader of the All Progressives Congress APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and also embark on a tour of the core Atlantic city, amongst others. A Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Imokimi Edgar, at a press briefing also at the government office in Alausa Ikeja, said adequate preparations have been made to mitigate the impact of the railway diversions on residents, while access will be given to any emergency. The Federal Road Safety Corps FRSA says it has mobilized all its field and sector commands for the nationwide 2018 Easter Special Patrol Operations. The Corps Public Education Officer, BC Kazim, who discussed this, said the exercise is scheduled to run from March 28 to April 3, with focus on 39 corridors across the country. Kazim said the special operation was aimed at reducing road traffic accidents and attendant deaths, among other objectives. He also said the public holiday expected to be declared by the federal government will definitely cause an increase in vehicular movement across the nation's highways. The Senate has emphasized the need to make provisions for human capacity development in the 2018 budget. Senate members expressed this view at the opening of a two-day public hearing on the 2018 budget organized by the Joint National Assembly Committee on Appropriation. Details in this report.
Declaring open a two-day public hearing on the 2018 budget, Senate President Bukola Saraki said Nigeria needs to prioritize human capital development in the spendings, even as it focuses on infrastructural projects. The session was premised at providing an avenue for richer inputs from Nigerians at all levels.
Not continue to take lip service when agencies who are part of this change of fighting corruption, blocking leakages, are continuing to run the agencies without having not to submit their budget. If Mr. President can submit the national budget in November, I cannot see any excuse why the MD or head of an agency can decide up to March and still not submit. We must find a solution to this, and I hope that this forum will use the opportunity going forward, reaching a conclusion in this area, which was very important.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, assured that more emphasis will be paid on getting revenue projections right in the future. Chairman of the Appropriation Committees in both chambers acknowledged numerous petitions, complaints, and recommendations to expunge inappropriate and wasteful estimates by a number of NDAS in their possession.
If not for zonal intervention projects, many communities in Nigeria would never have enjoyed any form of federal government patronage. My constituency is an example. Put differently, zonal intervention projects represent the only evidence of federal government presence in most rural communities in Nigeria. I stand to be contradicted. Consequently, as representatives of the people, no amount of blackmail from any quarters will force us to abandon our resolve to ensure even development. The quality of the budget is not in its size or content, but it is in its effective implementation. I will therefore employ stakeholders and indeed all Nigerians that as they are beginning to show interest in the budget-making process, they should show even greater interest in the implementation of approved budgets.
We are all scientists and laboratory technicians ready to mix and condition chemicals in the recently launched ERGP laboratory to get the best result for our people. The hearing is also an entrenched part of the 8th National Assembly legislative agenda of openness in governance and public sector matters. Because people who represent deserve to know and should know how their Commonwealth is being shared.
For the Minister of Budget and National Planning, it was an opportunity to elaborate on the expected gains of the 2018 budget. Meanwhile, subcommittees saddled with the responsibility of interfacing with various MDAs on their 2018 estimates are expected to hand in their reports latest Thursday, March 29.
The total revenue that we project, federal government share of the revenue, will be 2.441 trillion naira. That is all revenue. We also have the share of Nigeria's, the country's dividends from NLNG set at 29.92 billion naira. We have the share of federal government share of mineral revenue set at 1.17 billion naira.
News at 6. We'll take a short break here, and when we return, we'll bring you business news to stay. Welcome back. Now in business world, the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, a meeting has ended in a deadlock over discrepancies observed in the revenue figures presented by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and NPC. The meeting was convened to share the statutory allocations among the 3 tiers of government for the month of February. The committee said it could not approve the allocations to the 3 tiers of government, describing the revenue figures presented by the NNPC as a bad omen to workers who may have to go without salaries for the month. Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, confirmed the development to reporters shortly after the FAC meeting in Abuja, as well as the chairman Forum of Commissioners, Mahmood Yunusa, who also spoke on discrepancies.
You are aware that anything to do with the federation revenue is statutory and therefore constitutional. And we must always verify our figures to the last kobo, failing which we will be committing an illegality and unconstitutionality. And it is on that note we observe some issues on the figures given by one of the major revenue generating agencies, namely the NNPC, and the meeting is of the view and opinion that until and unless these figures are reconciled,
Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmad Idris, speaking on discrepancies there. Now, the Senate has passed the Conference Committee report on Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, PIGB. The bill was passed after the Chairman Senate Committee on Petroleum Upstream, Tayo Alashodra, presented the Conference Committee report on the Petroleum Industry and Governance Bill 2018. Chairman Senate on Petroleum Upstream, on his part, Senate President Bukola Saraki said the passage of the bill shows the National Assembly's commitment to laws that govern the country's petroleum sector. The bill, which seeks to change the way things are done in the oil sector, is expected to be sent to President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday, March 30 for assent. Still talking business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has intervened in the interbank market of the foreign exchange to the tune of $210 million. Figures obtained from the bank indicate that the wholesale sector of the market got a boost of $100 million, while the small and medium enterprises, SMEs, and invisible sectors were offered $55 million each. The Apex Bank said the interventions were in continuation of its commitment to maintaining stability in the market as well as enhancing production and trade. It also commended the cooperation by players in the interbank market, saying it had enjoyed a great deal of stability and seamless access of customers to foreign exchange following regular interventions by the CBN. We'll take another short break here, after which we'll bring you news from the foreign scene and sports. Join us again. Welcome back. Now, in international news, Hamas supporters and activists have been detained